Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Finn's Faithful podcast. Thanks for joining us on this Saturday afternoon here on Training Camp Weekly. This is our second episode. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope everybody's weekend's going great. I know some of you are out there in Members Day camp today, an eventful practice. We'll get into all that and more. As always, guys, we're live with you guys on YouTube, so make sure you hit that thumbs up, that like button, help support us. Load the chat. If you have any questions in the chat, join me in the chat tonight, this afternoon. I'm so used to being live at night. And also, keep flooding the video comment section. I try to get back to everybody. I really appreciate, guys, all the kind words and all the stuff in the video comments. Some of you guys have fantastic points of view and things I didn't even think about. So I really appreciate that. All right, well, we're kind of getting to jump into it. Let's get a little bit of the business done, the news and notes of the day, kind of take care of what happened out there in camp today. First of all, let's start with the injury stuff. Let's just jump right into the Jalen Phillips stuff. He kind of went down. It was his left knee. Everybody was a little worried. He gave the thumbs up to the crowd, but then he kind of walked off with the trainers. People were like, oh, no, here we go again. It was the left knee, not the right knee. But then, as you'll see, he tweeted out from himself that he just got leg whip. It was sore. So everybody take a deep breath. Phillips looks like he's okay. He'll be back. So that's good news. But Austin Jackson, some bad news, wasn't at practice today. Cam Smith wasn't practicing. Jason Marshall Jr., the promising young rookie, wasn't practicing today. So we don't know the extent. At least I haven't seen anything yet, the extent of the injuries yet. But Austin Jackson, out of all those guys, is the big concern. I've said the right side of the offensive line in the injuries is what concerns me. And behind Austin Jackson is probably, I think Larry Boehm was filling in for him today. That's a no-bueno. I'm not a huge Larry Boehm fan. We'll kind of talk about the O-line and in depth when we get into the stock up and stock down stuff. But yeah, so Austin Jackson, we don't know the extent. I don't believe McDaniel speaks to the media after practice. I think it's every other day he speaks. So today wasn't his day to speak, so we'll probably have to wait till tomorrow on that. Eskridge left practice at the end, I think on the last play with a hamstring injury. So that, depending, D's somebody who I probably had on the 53, and depending on how long the hamstring injury is, and hamstrings can be things that linger on. And if it does, that leaves the door open to a couple guys we're going to talk about today. Rookie Theo Weiss, who's been coming on, and I think it also opens the door up for Taj Washington. I think that's one of the more interesting camp battles we have there is that wide receiver position. And we'll talk about Weiss and Washington in the show, but I think it leaves the door open. Any other injury news? Zeke Biggers left practice. Hopefully, towards the end, hopefully it's nothing serious. Didn't seem like it was anything serious. He's another guy who's been coming on we'll talk about today. But I also want to get into something a little different. We're going to go through the practice. I'm going to read some of the tweets from Travis Wingfield, kind of go step by step, give you guys a play-by-play in the practice before we get into actual kind of some things I want to get into. And shout out to Jake in the chat. Shout out to everybody. If you're watching anywhere else, come on over to YouTube, guys. Help support the channel. Give us a thumbs up and a like. We appreciate it. All right. So let's jump into it today, let's get into some of Travis's tweets. Travis does a great job. He's of breaking things down one by one. So I kind of wanted to give you guys just a play-by-play that went on today in practice, and we can talk all about it. All right, he talks about one-on-ones first. You saw Patrick Paul lose a rep over Bradley Chubb, overset him in the crossface, turn inside post. First time he's seen all camp. Again, Paul's having an excellent camp. This is probably the first time he's lost a one-on-one, but he did have a great rep on Chop later on, where he took him around the arc, kind of got him out of the play. Chop later tried the same inside move on him that Chubb got. Paul responded, and he notes whenever Paul loses, he usually comes back the next time and locks it down with a technique. So that's very good to see. We'll talk about Paul here. He's been fantastic in camp. Jonah executed a beautiful snap trap on Benito Jones. Kenny Grant did get Jonah with that quick crossover step. Apparently he got him on that yesterday, so that's great news to hear. I love seeing Jonah Savenaya and Kenny Grant kind of battling in the trenches one-on-one. We're going to talk about this rookie class, but it has me excited with things like this. these guys, as they say, iron sharpens iron, and it just keeps going on with these two guys. I love it. He then goes on. Keon Smith looked fantastic with his hands and feet working in unison. He had a pass set that let go for seemingly 5 seconds, and that wasn't enough for Quentin Bell to get much. So it's great. Great to see Keon Smith getting back in there. Backup offensive tackle, backup left tackle was an issue, so it's good to see Keon kind of stepping in here and getting some good reps. Then Andrew Meyer had a really nice sink and absorb pass set on a Kenny Grant bull rush. Andrew Meyer is good to see since the pads came on. He's kind of stepped up. The practice I was at when there was no pads, he looked a little iffy. He was getting really manhandled, but now he seemed to be stepping up this last couple of days. So good to see Andrew Meyer. But good news, and I forgot to mention, speaking of that, Aaron Brewer was back at practice. I forgot to mention that at the top of the show. Aaron Brewer was back at practice, so that's great news. But still, good to see Aaron Meyer kind of turn it up with pads on. Storm Duck dropped the pick, but he stayed on top of Monterey Baldwin, then transitioned right back, pedaled down for the PBU. Guys, I love Storm Duck. We're going to talk about him in Stock Up. He's a guy I think is getting overlooked. He's been very consistent in camp, but we'll talk about him in camp. And he also mentions none of the corners move like Jack Jones. He jumped off at you at the field. I agree. Jack Jones, the key is going to be consistency with him. So that's something we got to keep an eye on with Jack. And then Mike Hilton, the other guy they brought in, was playing trail funnel and got beat on one rep by UDFA AJ Henning. But then the next one he did beautifully an undercut throw to contest an incomplete Malik Washington. So that's great news. Mike Hilton, I think, has a lock and inside track on the slot. That's where he plays. He brings a physical style. So, yeah, good to see that from those guys who just got here. All right. Willie Gay sees and we're going to talk a ton of Willie Gay today because Willie Gay has absolutely been everywhere. Willie Gay sees a little backfield trickeration, big word there by Travis, coming all the way and shuts it down behind the line. Storm Duck beats the block around the edge to team with Willie for the stop. Duck is there on the next play to usher A-Chain out of bounds. You got to tackle play corner in today's game, and that's the strength of Storm. Yeah, Storm's an excellent tackler. Again, we just talked about Storm. We're going to talk about it again. I think he's a very consistent and overlooked guy here. I don't think he's your day one starting corner as of right now. And Willie Gay will get into more. He's been just everywhere. Tua drills one to Waddle for 15. Good to see Aaron Brewer back in there, as we mentioned. Had a really nice rep. Gave Tua a clear shot at the throw down the middle. Tua's been fantastic. And I want to touch on Tua at the end of the show because I think we're starting to take it for granted the consistency level he's playing with. I think he's locked in for a big year if he stays healthy. Another Tua moving his right hip, flips his hips, drives one to Malik, coming with a silent for 10 yards right on the chest. Good start for QB1, no surprise. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody. Make sure you guys come over to YouTube. Hang out with us here. We're going through today's training camp. Talk the injuries, talk stock up, stock down. Give the show a thumbs up and a like. We appreciate all the support here. All right. Chop got a speed to power sack. That looks like it caught the tackle by surprise, and he got under Ryan Hayes' pads and drove him back. We talked about this with Chop. Chop has been tremendous now with his little nuances and moves he's doing. He shows hands. He shows his hands, takes his hands away, goes inside, goes out, and then sometimes they're so expecting that they're already on the back, and he just goes straight speed to power and wins that way. All the little nuances and tricks that Chop's picked up, you see it, and that's just one of the things. So big expectations for Chop, and he continues to have a great camp. Shout out to Adrian. Good afternoon, brother. Thank you, Adrian. Appreciate the love, brother. Great show you got going. All right, Ewers. We're going to talk about Quinn here, and we're going to talk about quarterback too. Big day from the young quarterback. Ewers showing off the big arm. Play action boot to his left, sets up for the throw back and chucks it across his body for 40 yards downfield to an open 10 or corner. The huddle erupts. I saw this clip, and it was a nice throw. And the thing we're going to talk about Quinn, and we're going to get to it, is the fastball. And I'll explain to you that when we get into quarterback too, what I mean by his fastball. But it looks like it's coming back. That's the most encouraging sign. But he had a fantastic day today. And we're going to talk here after we get to this if it's a realistic shot here that Quinn kind of leaps Zach Wilson in camp. Again, welcome back, Aaron Brewer. Now he has to go displace Benito Jones, Benito's been having a fantastic camp. Benito slips the block and shuts down the right run. Again, Benito's been fantastic this camp. I think he's locked up one of those playing probably that third defensive tackle spot, or especially that zero tech. So that's good to see. All right, let's move on. Right. Jalen Wright takes a toss with a really good widening block from Larry Borum. Good to see Larry Borum, who was filling in today for Austin Jackson. A good second-level attachment from James Daniels, and a lead block of Ingold to get to the corner for another big gainer. 3 wins for the offense. Explosion. The ground game, again, I'm real excited about the left side. It's good to see Borum get some movement. We're going to talk about Jalen right here. He's got a couple fumble issues, but good job. Good to see the line getting some movement when the pads come on. They've been coming on. Shout out Austin Jackson. News is brutal. Adrian, I'm on live. Did anything else break? Let me know if anything else broke with the injury news if it came out here. I didn't see anything before I went live, but keep us updated. Thank you. All right. Ingold was feeling it. He clears the way for another big run. Farrell Brown sealed the edge. Keon Smith caught a down block. Man, the way Gordon presses the line of scrimmage and explodes when he sees the ankles, that'll play in this offense. Man, looks really, really good. Okay, I'm very excited about Ollie Gordon here because Ollie Gordon, when the pads weren't on, I saw him in practice, he just looked okay. So now I was hoping, okay, let's wait and see till the pads come on. The pads came on, and he's making him see. You're feeling him. And I think the third and short and the goal line, I think Tyreek mentioned himself yesterday. We got to take A-Chain out and put Wright and Ollie Gordon. He mentioned his name specifically. But I'm encouraged when the pads go on, we have to hear Ollie's name. And we're hearing it. He's punishing people with the pad level. I think he did it to Ethan Bonner today. That's important. So I'm encouraged. He's one of my guys that I'm waiting to watch in preseason more than anybody. It's an interesting battle for that number 3 running back spot. So that's a good news. Adrian says out for multiple weeks. Really? Is that just been reported? Possibly ready for week 1. That's not good. That right side has me concerned. That's not good. Even Daniels, we don't know his injury, how fully back he is after that Achilles. Man, Brewer just got back. That's not good on the right side. Larry Borum, I'm not too comfortable on the right side. They might have to go and add some depth there. But that's not good news. Austin Jackson out for multiple weeks. No bueno, man. No bueno. All right, let's Ingold. Yeah, Mo Kamara and KJ Britt team up for a stop on Matheson. Nobody pops pads here like Britt. Got a few cheers you can hear from the bleachers. Yeah, I haven't heard too much of Kamara and Britt, so it's good to hear their name out there. So that was good. I think the linebacker core is status quo, and I haven't heard a ton of KJ Britt, but you know what you're getting there. He's going to be a key special team guy. All right. Defense makes a little shift as the Dolphins sends a man in motion, creates protection and breakdown. Dotson in on Tua, second for the sack. D is playing on a string early, has nice coverage rep with Armstrong, Bonner, and Sanders matching downfield, while Ewers had all day to throw, but is forced to check down. One thing you'll notice a trend today's practice, Anthony Weaver was in his bag, throwing multiple blitz from different angles, from safeties, linebacker, everything. And it's putting pressure on the quarterbacks and it forced them to throw. They would have been sacked multiple times and it forced them to throw the ball away. But that's good. They're seeing that look. And Weaver was really, really bringing the pressure today. I like that. Liam saved the day. Yeah, Ewers looks nice. All right. Chubb beats Farrell Brown and Britt fills for the stop. Big day for Britt to start. Again, good to see Chubb and good to see Britt coming on. And we were talking about the blitz, another blitz forced by Wilson to chuck and pray the ball sails over everyone. When Weave wants to get in his bag, he can really heat up these quarterbacks and confuse them. Yeah, we were mentioning that. That's really good. I'm glad that he's able to do all that. And these quarterbacks are able to see this. So now when they go up against their opponents, they'll see that look. So I'm glad they're doing that now. But, yeah, man, he was all in it. He was confusing these guys today. That's why it was impressive that Quinn had such a good day today. So, all right, Ewers continues to look. Speaking of Ewers, Ewers continues to look more and more comfortable. Another perfect pocket drive to an 18-yard in-breaker, and Baldwin right on the money. Gave the track star a chance to make a play without slowing him down through the catch. Yeah, this throw specifically, I saw the clip of Ewers to Baldwin, who, by the way, he's a nice little player, Monterey Baldwin. I think Monterey, he's a practice squad, Ken. He won't make the team. Nice little player. Ewers on this play is where I saw the fastball. He stepped in. I've been waiting for this. He stepped in, planted his foot, and drove it. And the fastball was back to 95 miles an hour. It wasn't at 90, 91 with all the injuries. So that's what I've been waiting for. All right. And this particular play showed it. And again, we're going to talk about the battle for the number 2 spot here. All right. Tua hit this hot. Tua hot this time with Minka as the free runner. Coverage rotates to fill the hot, and Tua has to turf it. Again, Minka's all over. The little games that Minka plays with Tua is just sharpening Tua. The way Minka makes him, forces to do other things. Minka is one thing. He could have lost a little bit of step speed, but one thing he hasn't lost is the mind, and he's really intelligent, high football IQ. He plays 2 yards ahead, and on this play again, forced Tua to put in the turf. You know, who knows what would have happened? It's showing him sets like imagine if it was Jordan Porter. This doesn't happen, right? So that's what playing against quality players like this on defense are going to allow Tua to kind of see these things when he's playing the really good defenses and be able to kind of sniff it out and he did the smart thing, just get rid of it. So good to see. Kenneth Grant got a sack. His bull rush takes a man into Tua's lap. That's music to my ears. You guys know how much I love Kenneth Grant in the draft. My number 14 player on the board. We got him at 13. This was the guy I targeted along with Save A. You guys know that. I talk about it all the time. But it's good to see him kind of get that pressure and move that pocket and collapse it. It's going to help him and Zach. So that's really cool. All right, thank you. We got a bunch of people watching, about 60 in all platforms. Come on over to YouTube, guys. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that like button if you like what you're seeing. We're bringing you a recap of today's Dolphin practice. We're going to get into talk about Quinn Ewers. Can he actually win that backup job? So, all right. Let's move on to the next one. Tua steps into a clean pocket, drives 115 yards to Tyreek. Some sizzle on the ball. 3rd and 12 was a nice conversion in a tough spot. Good to see Tua is locked in. Good to see him and Reed getting that chemistry going. You know, little tension going on there, but good to see Tyreek doing all him connecting with Tyreek. Tua steps into and on Zach Wilson has a completion for similar yards on a 3rd and 12 to Ezukama. O-line setting in some pressure here a little bit. Yeah, Ezukama is a guy who, you know, I'm kind of thinking I think he's going to have a tough time making this team, Eric Ezukama. Willie Gay gets the easiest interception of his life. Again, Willie Gay's been fantastic. Zach Wilson got Tanner Connor wide open. Ball pops off his hand straight into the air, and Gay is Johnny on the spot. Seems fitting for all the interceptions he's had and kind of like when a baseball player hits a line drive, gets 3 hits. Yeah, unbelievable, guys. Let me tell you something about Willie Gay. I told you I was at practice, and I couldn't believe what this guy. I forgot his number. In number 40, I'm looking, who is this guy? And it was Willie Gay. I mean, he's been all over the place. So you're going to hear his name a lot. All right, moving on here. Another blitz. Weaver was sending it today. Another blitz forces Wilson to chuck and pray as the ball sails over everyone. Weaver wants to get in his bag. He can really heat it up with these quarterbacks. On this play, Jordan Phillips. Okay, we're going to talk about the rookie class. And you heard his name a lot today. Him and a little bit of Biggers. He came off his rush, sprinted 20 yards downfield after the pass. Never going to get there. But that type of action is consistent in what we've heard about him. Yeah, Phillips is a guy who I'm so glad. I think he's coming on. I think Phillips is a guy who we're going to talk about in the rookie class. I've seen him in person. Not the tallest, but maybe one of the stronger guys in the room. Built, just looks like he looks like a linebacker playing defensive tackle. He does not have a lot of body fat on him, but glad to see his name. And we're going to talk about the rookie class here. All right. Tua engineers a scoring drive in a hurry-up setting. 1:15 on the clock. From the 40, he drove the end down for a 20-plus yard Sanders kick. It's good. But the Port near 3 completions to Tanner Connor. Shoot up about 30 yards. Had 2 completions to A-Chain. 1-1. Tanner Connor, I've told you guys I look at this tight end as 2 groups. And Tanner as pass catchers and blockers. Tanner Connor has the opportunity here to win a job if he's ever going to have one. All right, Waller, we don't know the conditioning. He hasn't been on the field yet. There's really nothing behind him in the pass catching. Farrell Brown, Julian Hill are the blockers. So this is his shot. So Tanner Connor, your time, brother. Shout out to the 100 people we have in the room. Guys, again, if you're watching anywhere else, do us a favor. Come on over to YouTube. Check us out. Support the channel. Hit that little thumbs up. It takes a second. We appreciate it. All right. Wilson turned for the 2-minute and defensive dials up. 2 sacks on Zach to turf a third. We weaving this back again with the pressure looks. Colbert, again, they brought the safety here. He was untouched with the convulsion of multiple rushers. So, again, not the best day for Zach. A lot of the accuracy issues, and when you're facing the blitz, the stuff you saw when he was in New York are coming out. And you put that on top of Ewers having a big day. I'm just saying. We'll talk about the QB2. Just saying. This was fun to hear. Patrick Paul escorts Jalen Waddle up the sideline for a 35-yard touchdown. Knocked the corner out. They're 20 yards downfield. Found another block. Have a camp, young man. Jonah Sabianaya, remember I mentioned those two on the left side, was catching blocks out front too. All I can think about is that old Ricky Williams run with Jamie Nails, and Dixon? Was Mark Dixon on that line? Somebody will tell me if that's wrong. But them out in the open field, I'm telling you, those 2 young guys on the left side are going to be something in the run game. They're going to get moving. All right, Tua has all day on 3rd and 3. Really good pocket set from tackles, moves to his left, fires to Julian Hill for a first down. But on the first down play next to Willie Gay and Chop Robinson combo, breaks down the protection off Tua's right, and he's sacked. So, again, pressure, Willie Gay, Chop, combo, Tua got sacked. He went to it. Make sure he gets that away when in real live bullets. But really good set from the tackles to his left on the first play. Then the second play combo with Willie and Chop. Those 2 guys are going to see the field a lot. So together. All right. Moving on to Ollie Gordon. This is what I was talking about earlier. Ollie Gordon, guys, stays on the same track on the second level. He drops a shoulder. That's what I want to hear with the pads with Ollie Gordon. That Bonner absorbs for a tackle, but Gordon was the one dishing the punishment. This is why we drafted Ollie Gordon. This is why I was like, oh, he's okay with the pads off. Pads come on. This is what you need to see from Ollie Gordon, and we're seeing it now. This was the vision. Again, during the draft process, I looked at Ollie Gordon as a goal line, red zone, 3rd and short. That's what got me excited. So I want to see this kind of stuff and work from him. Shout out to Lou and Ash. We had him on the show the other day. Check out that episode. Shout out to Lou. Thank you. Thank you for the support, brother. Make sure you guys go check out their channel. Great people, beautiful couple, and they were out in practice today. Thanks for the shout out, Lou. I appreciate it. Okay. James Daniels and Andrew Meyer catch blocks in space as Tua gets it to A-Chain. First down conversion. Good to see James Daniel. And again, Andrew Meyer, since the pads come on, has looked really good. So, that's an encouraging sign because Brewer had the injury. Brewer was back today. But again, Andrew Meyer, they're going to need him. They like him a lot. They kept him here all last year at the UDFA. So, good to see from that. Hello, Jorge. How you doing, man? Sports Night. Jorge, thank you. Shout out again. Yes, so much to watch. Great show. Okay. Jordan Phillips, again, the rookie. We talked about it. Forces a Jalen Wright wide run to the bubble. Britt cleans it up. So, again, we're mentioning him. He's starting to hear his name in camp. Love those 3 young D tackles. Think all of them could play this year. Next play, Wright gets ahead of steam into the second level. But John Sanders, I mentioned on the last few shows, I like me some John Sanders. Undrafted free agent. When I went back and looked at his film, sometimes you see a guy and my eyes tell me there's something to him. There's something to this John Sanders kid. I don't think he makes the team, but I think he's a practice squad development player. Just keep your eyes on 35 in preseason if you go out to camp. He's a thumper. He brings a different dimension to that room. Next play, Wright gets ahead of steam. Oh, no, sorry. Next play, finishing off the John Sanders stuff. Next play, Wright gets ahead of steam into the second level, but John Sanders studs him, takes the ball out of his hand. Second fumble for Wright in the last 2 days. That's a big issue. You remember what happened with Raheem Mostert. Raheem was probably the best back last year we had, and he didn't see the field because of the fumbling issues. He's got to clean this up, or the dream of Jalen Wright being on the field won't happen. 2 fumbles, 2 days has been a problem for Jalen Wright in his career. He's got the ability. And again, he's better in inside zone than he is outside zone. And I think they're going to be going more to inside zone. But you can't turn the ball over. He's got to clean this up. Keon Smith had a really nice day. Good to hear. We mentioned that. Backup left tackle and depth on the O-line. We'll talk about it in stock down. It's good to see that we have somebody, if some, God forbid, something happens to Paul or just insurance, because you never know, with Patrick Paul, till the real bullets fly. But he's looking fantastic. Had a really nice day. Talk about his extension, locking out one-on-one, carried over today, running off the ball, and hitting reach blocks, getting into his pass set. So great stuff there from Mr. Patrick Paul. And then 31 coverage sack. Again, Weaver was in his bag. Tua had all day, never saw anything. Nice work by Mika. Elijah Campbell, Storm Duck, and Kendall Sheffield. You see those 4 names? If Aston Davis looks like he won't be back, he'll probably start the season on IR. And Melly, the other safety who hasn't played yet. And Jack Jones is inconsistent. He's been making plays, but it's not consistent enough. Those could be your starting secondary right there. Minka, Elijah Campbell, Storm Duck, and Kendall Sheffield. I think Storm Duck's a lock to be the starter, by the way. A lock. Again, we talked about it multiple times. All right. Willie Gay damn near does it again. He flashes in front of a curl wide receiver, gets his hand on it. Would have been a tough catch. Would have been a 6 if he could have made it. Now that's now a pick, PBU, and a tackle for him for the day. All over the place. This guy was a phenomenal athlete coming out of college. You guys know I'm a big draft guy, and he was like a 4.46 linebacker. Hasn't put it together. Maybe this is another Jordan Brooks situation where you get him, Weaver finds the best way to utilize him, and he puts it together. But I'm excited to see him and how they utilize him. Another day, another explosive run from Alexander Madison. He pressed it, play side, cut it back, scrapping off the backside, collapse of Farrell Brown and Ryan Hayes. I'm going to say he hooked it for a 10-yard gain. Matheson has been, I wasn't a big fan of the Alex Matheson signing. I thought he was going to be a progress blocker for a young back. I thought they were going to draft the physical young back, which they did. But he's been, the camps I've been at, he's been making plays every camp. There might be a little more to him. He's been a starting back in this league. He's been productive. So there's a battle there with him and Ollie. That's a battle to watch. And then the best news to wrap it up all day was from the source, Jalen Phillips. Yeah, I just got leg whipped. Y'all chill out. Just a brew. I agree with Travis. The best news of the day. So that wraps up. We just went over the camp. Went over to give you guys a play-by-play what happened in case you didn't see it in camp. So let's get into some other stuff, guys. We got 133 people watching different platforms. Do me a favor, guys. Come on over to YouTube. Help us out here. There's a thumbs up button. There's a little bell to subscribe. If you like the content we're doing, come join us. Come join us in the chat and support us over here on YouTube. We really appreciate you guys, all the support. And we're here with Training Camp Weekly, trying to give you guys the latest news with injuries and everything going on. All right, so I want to transition now. We know what happened at camp today. We got the latest there. So I kind of want to transition into quarterback number 2. Now, I think this is a competition we all thought 100% Zach Wilson. By the way, let's start by saying this. Zach Wilson was targeted specifically by Mike and the staff. He's the veteran. So it's going to be hard to unseat him. However, Mike said himself, Mike was asked, I think Coach McDaniel was asked a couple days ago about the backup quarterback position. Is it a lock that, Zach Wilson will be number 2? He said it right now, he's the quarterback 2. But he did say, which I like, there's no such thing as a non-competition, and he'll kind of keep an eye on Ewers' progress. Here's the thing with Quinn. Quinn keeps stacking these days together and these practices together, and Zach struggles. Zach's had some good days, don't get me wrong. If Zach struggles with some accuracy, the stuff that we saw in the inconsistency, the players notice who's better. And at some point, right, if the gap continues to widen. I don't think it's gotten there yet, but I think preseason, these next practices, if the gap widens so much, how do you look at your players and say, okay, yeah, we're gonna go with Zach because we paid him $6 million and we targeted him and we want to rehabilitate him, be the quarterback whisperer thing with him too. Now, I think it's going to be very hard for him to unseason. I think Ewers is going to have to stack these great days together. Can't make many mistakes, and and then have a heck of a preseason. Zach's gonna have to fumble the bag in preseason, like 3 picks, another game with 2 picks, or some crazy like that. The stuff that we saw with the Jets. But I don't think they're in any rush. I think Zach Wilson starts the season as the backup just because of, perception, and they targeted him. Mike really liked him. That tree really likes, Zach Wilson. We told you, Ben Albright told us that Zach Wilson was the target for the Miami Dolphins. They have said it themselves. I think he would have to really fumble, and Quinn will have to keep widening the gap so significant for that to happen. But now, you tell me midseason, he's overtaking Zach Wilson as the backup, and if there's some sort of injury to Tua, hopefully not, I can buy that. But what encouraged me, Lou, shout out to Lou, says, can confirm that Quinn Ewers had the best throw of the day. The kid looks poised and smooth out there. Yeah, thank you, Lou, for that report. Yeah, I saw the clip. He made a couple throws. Preseason quarterback play will be something to watch. Shout out to Jake. Jake, yes, that's going to be something to keep an eye on. But here's the thing about Ewers. I want to explain something. Let me sit up on my chair for this. Evaluation of the draft, you guys know, again, draft is where my heart is. Evaluating Quinn. He's got good, little things he does well. Pump fakes, kind of throws defenders off, these off-platform throws, kind of like a shortstop. Can make these kind of, you see some at practice. He can drop it in a bucket with the flick of a wrist, a little bit like Tua, not comparing him to Tua. And then when he got drafted, I go, okay, if he's going to succeed, this is the perfect system. What I didn't see was every time I watched tape, it's him drive and plant, throw the ball with some authority. Like, he was one of the top high school recruits, guys, and he was known for having a big arm. Didn't see it the last few years. He's had injuries. The last few practices, the one throw to Baldwin today down the middle, the crossbody throw downfield to Tanner Conner, the fastball sitting at 95, 96 again. And in college last year was like 90, 91. That's the difference for him even becoming a successful backup, okay? Because that's what you want, him to be the backup long-term for Tua. And maybe you develop something like, who knows, maybe you hit a home run, you found Brock Purdy, but that's what you would. He didn't have a chance even to be a backup. That fastball didn't come around. So for me, that's the most encouraging thing that I'm seeing is that fastball that came around, and I'm seeing him drive the ball. Again, I think Wilson will be the number 2 just because of the circumstances. No rush on the young guy. If Tua's healthy, you don't have to put that pressure on him. But he's certainly starting to stack these practices together and showing you something. And again, like Lou said, with a lot of poise. So they might have hit here on a future backup, or maybe even some guy who can develop into a starter. It's early. Let's let preseason, the rest of the camp play out. But yeah, I would expect Zach Wilson. I just don't think they'll do that move yet, because Zach's had his moments. Not like he's been awful, but he does, like today wasn't a great day, and he does have some inconsistency with. I'm curious to hear you guys. What do you Finn Spin says, I want yours to become Jimmy Garoppolo in New England. Excellent preseason showing, great feeling, given the chance to win 2 or 3 games over the next couple of years and then turn them into the second. Yeah, that'd be fantastic. That means you have a healthy Tua. So that'd be fantastic. I'm all down for that, Finn Spin. All right, so shout out to, we got about 140 people here. Guys, come on, make sure you guys are watching. If you have time, come over to YouTube, join the chat, throw some questions out. We appreciate it here on the Fins Faithful Training Camp Weekly, our second episode. I hope you guys liking it. Of course, the new look. Everybody likes the new look, but all right. So let's go on to a little bit. I want to talk about this rookie class. All right, and I've been a big not hater, but I haven't been the biggest fan of Chris Greer. But everybody knows I love this draft. We talked about Grant. And we talked about Savi and I. These are 2 starters. But they just don't. What's encouraging about these two guys is they don't look misplaced. They look like they belong, and the teammates believe in them, and they're different type of players. The reason I targeted these two players, not only were they're big guys, but they're big, kind of barrel-chested, athletic movers of people. Those combinations are hard to find. I thought the Dolphins got two of the best in this draft. Probably the only two they could have gotten the spots that they were in the first and second round. We talked about Quinn Ewers. You might have found something there. We talked about how Biggers and Phillips came on today. Jason Marshall Jr. making plays in practice. He left practice today, or he wasn't practicing. But I know in the building, I heard they love this kid. Size, physicality, all the talent, played against high competition in the SEC. We talked about all that. But it was inconsistent. He had some effort issues. But he's showing up, working hard. And I always said, if he wants it, he has a chance because he looks like a starting cornerback in the NFL. Ollie Gordon, pads come on, power's coming. Short yardage situation. Then we got some UDFAs. I'm telling you right now, Theo Weiss Jr., I know my co-host, by the way, shout out to Jason Sarney. He was supposed to be on with me today. He had a few issues. He couldn't come on, but you all know he's kind of going through a little bit of a health issue. So we shout out to Jason, send him prayers out there. He's getting better. He'll be back on real soon. So, but yeah, I know Jason's going to love Theo Weiss Jr.'s on my 53-man roster. He's the best of the undrafted rookie free agents. So as far as his rookie class, I think they did all right. I get a good feeling about this class. And if Greer, if Paul turns out to be what he is, and Chop turns out to be what we think he is, and then you hit on these two young trench players, that's first and second 2 years in a row. I gotta, forget about the other stuff. I would have to tip my hat a little bit to Chris Greer. We'll see how it plays out. Again, still not the huge fan of him, but we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, Theo Weiss. He's a guy who, yeah, shout out to Jason. Yeah, get well soon, brother. Yes. Jason's he's on the recovery. He'll be back. He couldn't make it today. So, but no big deal. Jason will be back with us. All right. So now let's get to let's go to some camp battles. And then we're going to get finished up with some stock up, stock down, and top performer. Camp battles, wide receiver. I want to know who your guys number 5 and 6 is, and are they even going to keep 6? The 4 locked in. Hill, Waddle, Malik Washington, NWI. And that NWI is only because of financial commitment, because he hasn't been great in camp. Like, I'm not so sure that Theo Weiss has had a better camp than him. But let's just say those 4. If D. Eskridge, to me, he was a lock. He was making plays, was going to be the fit. If Eskridge's hamstring injury is significant, let's say they do keep 6. Theo Weiss is a lock, and I'll probably go Taj Washington on that battle. I don't know about you guys. Then, because Ezukama, not on my 53. I know we had a couple good plays, seen it before. And then the other guys, you got Andrew Armstrong, good player, practice squad candidate to me. I think Weiss, they're similar. Think about Theo Weiss coming out of college, where I liked. Remember, he came out of Missouri. He was the leading receiver on that team, not Luther Burton, who was a second-round pick. He's got some vertical speed. I think he ran 4.59, but what jumped out on tape on me on Theo Weiss was his ability to separate in yards out the catch for a big receiver. And he's got a real good connection with Quinn Ewers, and he's doing fantastic in the red zone. And he keeps making plays. He's coming on. I would, if there's a chance to get him on the roster, I would. And you have Baldwin, I think is another practice squad candidate we mentioned. The other one's the cornerback room, right? We know Sheffield probably makes it. Storm Duck, Jack Jones, Mike Hilton, probably forgetting Jason Marshall Jr. Then you have that group of young guys, Ethan Bonners, Cam Smith, not on my 53. Ethan Robinson, young undrafted corner who's come on a little bit. B.J. Adams, the big, long corner. I know they like a lot. Who am I forgetting? I'm probably forgetting a name or two. But then there's that battle of young guys. Not sure Isaiah Johnson. Not sure I feel great about either of them separating. I don't know if I feel great out of all of them. Let me see what I got. Honestly, let me see what I got in BJ Adams. I've seen, probably Ethan Bonner makes it because Ethan always seems to make the team and they hype him up and he never plays. So he probably has the inside edge. But again, or could they bring another guy in? So that's another battle. But if I had a handicap right now, Storm Duck's one of the corners. Then you have the other side battling kind of not Ethan Bonner, Kendall Sheffield and Jack Jones. Maybe give Sheffield the edge there. But I think Jack Jones eventually is going to be the long-term starter this year there. Just got to get more consistent, but he's making plays. The other one's the running back room. That third running back position, I mentioned it. Gordon and Matheson. I think they might keep all four. Again, let's see how preseason camp. I think Gordon's going to make it no matter what. I think Matheson, if he continues to play like this, will make it. Maybe they keep one less tight end. Or maybe they keep one less receiver. So that'd be interesting to monitor. Yeah, those are some of the camp battles right now that I see in camp. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Yes. And shout out to, we got about 160 people watching on different platforms. Again, come on over to YouTube if you can, guys. Come join us in the chat. Check us out. We're going to get into now our stock down, our top performer of the week. I want to hear what you guys have to say in the chat about it. All right, let's get into a little stock up. Stock up. Okay, and this doesn't mean the best player. This means a guy who's kind of been on the rise. I'm going to go stock up Patrick Paul. From the beginning of camp to my expectations has been dominant. Hasn't lost a rep, maybe only one or two in practice. He's the one I'm worrying least about in that offensive line now. And I love the side with him and Jonah. So stock out for Patrick Paul. Patrick Paul, keep healthy, keep doing what you're doing, man. I can't wait to see him in joint practices against Detroit or all these guys. Joint practices actually are as important or more important than the preseason game. You find more about that there. Stock up Willie Gay Jr. Again, all over the place. Dropped 5 picks, had a pick today, sacks. He's just everywhere. Willie Gay Jr. stock up. We mentioned Theo Weiss Jr. Have him on my 53, a UDFA. So that's stock up when I do that as of right now. We talked about Quinn Ewers, Matheson we talked about, Ollie Gordon we talked about. These are all guys stock up for me. Andrew Myers stock up. From what he started when I first saw him the second day of camp, or first day of camp open to the public to now, good job. And I'll say Storm Duck because, again, I have a lot of stock invested in Storm Duck. Love the kid. Consistent, overlooked. All right, let's move to a little stock down. Again, when I mentioned him last week, somebody said, when was his stock ever up? That's Cam Smith. He's got an opportunity in front of him. He had a sleeve, a compression sleeve on his leg, didn't practice today. I just think it's time to move on. If you're ever going to make an impact on this roster, it would be now in this situation, and he hasn't. So stock down on Cam Smith. If you're ever going to make it, it would be this is the opportunity with this cornerback room. Stock down Jalen Wright's fumbling. You want to be on the field, you can't fumble. This coaching staff told you that. Look at Raheem Mostert last year. He's got to protect the football. Stock down Eric Ezukama. Not on my 53. He's made a couple plays, but I think you have better versions already. We see more of Theo Weiss Jr. and Andrew Armstrong. I think I think a lot like Cam Smith, and these. It's time to move on. We see what we have in Eric Ezukama. If you can caught him and maybe nobody picks him up, you bring him back in the Packers squad, make him available a little more. And then another stock down is the backup offensive line. I like the starting group. The depth is scary. I know we talk about Liam Eichenberg and we criticize Liam Eichenberg, but Liam Eichenberg being injured does concern me because as a backup, I like Liam. Brunskill doesn't look like he's shown much in camp. Again, Andrew Myers, come on. We have Keon Smith, Hayes. Is Isaiah Wynn out there? Anybody? I would take Isaiah Wynn now. I'd be happy to have Isaiah Wynn. Bring him in. He doesn't need to come in camp, so it reduces the chances of him getting hurt. And as a backup, bring him in. That's a guy who I think they should have kind of on hold on the phone there. And the last stock down to Zach Wilson's accuracy issues. I see him creep up today in camp. I've seen him when I was out there. He can make the throw. You see the moments why he was picked number 2, but then you see the accuracy stuff that's just wild sometimes. So that's kind of my stock up, stock down. It's a lot of the same names, but I want to get to the top performer, and this one is going to be probably a little interesting. And shout out to all the people we have in the chat. Shout out to everybody watching on all platforms. We appreciate the love. Appreciate all the kind words. Thank you. Let's see, George. Tanner Connor really good today. I think he's starting opening day. Yeah, glad you mentioned Tanner Connor. He was going to be on my stock up. He had a few big plays. I mentioned him, Daniel. Great name to bring up. This is Tanner Connor's shot. I told you I look at the tight ends in 2 groups, pass blockers and pass catchers. He's got the shot to fill. There's going to be a field. Look, we love Jonnu Smith, but a lot of Jonnu Smith's where he ate a lot was what the defense, how they were playing, the light boxes, the middle of the field open, defense playing back, and there was that pockets just wide open. Somebody's got to fill those. I thought it was going to be NWI. Hasn't had a great camp. Like maybe Tanner Connor could do that. They've been high on him. They've kept him around. He's made some plays. So, but we've seen this before, Daniel. That's what concerns me. But yes, Tanner Connor is a name to keep an eye on. And then we got to get Willie Gay some snaps. We talked about Willie. He was on the stock up. Willie's been all over the place. I'll tell you, Daniel, when I was out there, like I kept looking. He just pops to you. You notice him. So. Yeah, it's interesting to see how Weaver's going to use him, what packages, what kind of – is he going to be – because he played a little on the edge in pass rush situations with New Orleans. Is he going to do that with the Dolphins, or is he going to play a little bit more of the linebacker or send him on blitz? There's a lot of things they can do with him. I'm curious to see how they use him. All right, let's get to the top performer of the week, And this one – it's Tua Tagovailoa. And it's Tua Tagovailoa because the attention to detail that he's playing with and the consistency and the efficient level that he's playing with, no interceptions through the first 9 practices, I believe. And I love the comment when he talked about how his practices are not determined by how many interceptions or how many completions he throws. You guys might see it as a good practice, but I don't. It's the attention to detail. This kid is locked in. He can play at an efficiency level that I think we might kind of take for granted. I think if he stays healthy, he's going to have a big year. And you clearly see another thing this week, not only the play, the leadership off the field. The things he said to call Tyreek out and how Tyreek responded. By the way, shout out to Tyreek. I get on Tyreek a lot, but I like his comments, what he said about, hey, I needed to hear that. Tua's the leader of this team. That also tells me that this is Tua's team. By the way, Tyreek, first time you're taking notes since you've been a Dolphin, and this is the first time you learned the offense. Boy, glad to hear you're doing it now, but why weren't you doing it before? But anyways, Tua has shown clearly, guys, this is his team. Tua, if things get turbulent, especially in offense, you know where to look? You know where to look now. Number 1. It's clear as day. The team recognizes him as the leader. The way he speaks as the leader, the confidence and the attention to detail that he has now. If he can stay healthy, I know he's a polarizing figure. I know people there's Tua on, the Tua haters. Forget all that. The attention to detail that he's showing is next level. And what separates a really good player or an average player from a really good or great player is consistency. You can count on him. Every day you know what you're getting. And that's what you have with Tua Tagovailoa. That's what great players have. I know some of you guys are Heat fans. You knew what you were getting from Dwayne Wade when he went out there. Because it was consistent. And that's what separates. Many people don't realize that's just all that separates an average player from a really good player. That's what separates a Jack Jones from a Jalen Ramsey. Consistency. Might not have been the best comparison, but you get my point. I just think top performer, no picks, way he took the leadership, not talk about it, be about it. If we're going to change, if this ship is going to sink, it's on me. Love all of it. Love all of it from Tua. Shout out to, we had 177 people watching. Anybody have any questions in the chat? shoot them to me now. We're going to wrap up and get up out of here. But yeah, so I hope you guys like this Saturday training camp league. We'll do it next week. Hopefully we have Jason with us or some other guests, or maybe I just fly solo again. I hope you guys liked it. I was flying solo. I hope I did a good job to entertain you guys. We will see you on Monday. Then we potentially have something lined up on Wednesday, but we'll be back Saturday. And again, if you guys like this Saturday thing, I have something planned during the season. So stick with this here on the Finn's Faithful Podcast. I said we're all in, and I mean it, we're all in, guys. I appreciate you guys joining us. Everybody have a happy, healthy, safe weekend. Maybe I'll see you guys out at camp. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Fins up, guys. See you next time. We're out.